And welcome back to the Hot Lap. I'm with Mal, all the way from, I tell you what, all the way from New Zealand. I mean, we're literally talking F1 across the world. I'm assuming it's 9 o'clock in the evening where you are. Is that right? About?
Just a bit after.
Just a bit after 9. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock in the morning here. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, to be fair, technology is amazing, isn't it? And I'm loving your Lotus top as well. I think, I'm trying to think that'll be from like the Lotus Renault, which are now the Alpine team. That would have been from. Um, that could have been like when like Kimi Raikkonen, I think, and Roman Grosjean were driving for them, which is quite good. Yeah, and then Lotus sold it back to Renault, who then went to Renault and then didn't do very well, and now they're Alpine, and I tell you what, Mal, they're not doing they're not doing very well at the moment either. Do you like have a favourite team or anything like that? Team driver?
Uh, I really sort of quite like the underdogs. I'm a Pierre Gasly fan,
Ah,
and
yes. Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I mean you can make an argument. Pierre Gasly, he's done something that Verstappen couldn't, and that is winning the Toro Rosso on AlphaTauri. That's something Verstappen never did. So I do like Pierre Gasly. I remember getting that podium. He won, I think, yeah, won the Italian Grand Prix in 2020 as well, which was I think a really good race. So I mean, in qualifying, top three, as you may or may not be aware, we've got obviously Verstappen, Perez, Norris. Fourth is Sainz, fifth is Alonso, sixth is Piastri, seventh is Hamilton, eighth is Leclerc, ninth is Russell, and then the 10th is Sonoda, finishing out the top 10. So far this season, Mal, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
well, it's sort of just starting. I think Max is the unstoppable god really at the moment. Unless he has a mega or a tech issue, he's just going to run away. I think,
Yeah,
and it's the best of the rest, really. I do have to say that I do have a soft spot for McLaren. Coming from New Zealand, and
absolutely.
it's fantastic to hear that Orlando got good position. It's wonderful. Who did you say Piastri come?
Piastri, yeah, Piastri. He didn't do as good as I wanted him to. He qualified sixth. This time last year, I think he qualified second. He beat Lando in Japan. So kind of disappointed. I was a bit disappointed really going into it. But to be fair, looking at the practice sessions, it did appear that McLaren. Everyone thought McLaren wouldn't have the pace to even get into third. So I think the fact that Norris got third is really good. Um, yeah, Piastri sixth. I still think solid point. Norris could get a podium. The only thing I don't know what you think. The only thing I feel about Lando Norris is he's at the moment he's F1's nearly man, and I can't help but feel he just needs to be that like 10-20% more aggressive with other drivers. I mean, I know Max is going to pass him anyway, but when he's been fighting with Max in the past, it's kind of like he lets him by, and you never know. I always think if you're going into a corner trying to pass someone, you should try your best not to pass because you never know. Maybe they get distracted, go off in the gravel or something like that. You never know. But I think he's. I don't know. I mean, am I being too harsh? I mean, what's your opinion on Norris when it comes to racing?
Well, I think he sort of deserves a win, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, when Piastri took over Ricardo and really stepped up to the plate, I think Norris had a bit of a freak out and thought he'd better, pull
Yeah.
his finger out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've always said this year. I think now Piastri. I think you're right. Now Piastri's got a year behind him, so to speak. I think he's going to give Norris a big kick up the backside throughout the year, and Norris is looking over it, which is exactly what Norris needs. What's your opinion then at the moment of Norris's former teammate Danny Ricciardo currently?
Oh, I'm a big fan of the beak of the week, I call him. But you know, reading a lot of comments from other websites and whatnot, he's not getting a lot of favourable comments,
No.
especially with outperforming him this year.
Yeah, I know. Sonoda's spanking him, isn't he? I mean, Sonoda qualified 10th, Ricardo qualified 11th, albeit Ricardo just missed out of Q3 by about a tenth, less than a tenth, Sonoda did. And going into Japan, Ricardo didn't have the first practice session because there was they have to do rookies, don't they? So there's a Japanese rookie in his seat for practice one. Practice two was a washout. It was wet. No one went out. And he only had practice three. So I think, to be fair, there's a bit of hope there, at least this time, because Daniel didn't have as much track time as Tsunoda, and he qualified within less than a tenth. So there's hope. Okay, I've got to ask though, from New Zealand, Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson, talk to me.
Definitely, big fan.
Big.
I'd definitely like to see him get a seat. But in saying that, I really like to see Ricciardo do well. Actually, you know, I really like to come back up to form. But the pressure's really on him this year, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Liam Lawson, I think, really deserves a seat. You know, and it would be interesting to see what happens in the silly season when everyone's contract, is up for renewal or a new somewhere else.
No, mate, it absolutely will be. I mean, it could happen before. Someone, what was it? A worrying stat when they started Sky, because I'm a man. I love Ricciardo. I mean, what was it? I think he was the Autosport, which is like a big publication here in the UK for motorsport. They named him the best driver of the year. Oh, okay, all the way back in 2014, but that was when Hamilton won the title with Mercedes, and they said he was the best driver that year. And let's be fair, I think with Ricciardo, when he was with Verstappen, still to this day, I think he's the only teammate that has gone toe to toe with Max Verstappen, and no other teammate has come close.
Anyone against Max Verstappen as a teammate, you know, I mean, Red Bull are just so brutal with their second drivers, or if you don't perform, you know, you get the boot.
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull, they're harsh, aren't they? Which is why I almost expected Sergio Perez not to make the cut next year. Not to make the cut going even into this year. Bearing in mind he's qualified second, like less than a tenth behind Verstappen. But I honestly thought what would happen this year, Ricciardo will destroy Tsunoda, and it hasn't, which is good for Tsunoda, and then he'll go up to, and halfway through the season, I thought he'd go up to the big team and Lawson will get his run in the second half of the season. That is what I honestly thought was going to happen, but it hasn't yet. But you're right, Lawson deserves a seat. He did absolutely amazing, subbing for Danny Ricciardo's hand, so to speak, and he's been promised a seat for next year, and I think either Yuki Tsunoda or Danny Ricciardo will be out by the end of the year, you know, or going into next year. Who, I don't know, but I don't know. What do you think? Because Liam Lawson, I think if they don't give him a seat, there's a chance that they might lose him to another team.
It's a big possibility. Big possibility. I don't know. Tsunoda's, he's really associated with Honda, isn't he? You know,
yeah.
And I'm not too sure people really want him, which is a shame because he's pulling his finger out this year. You know, despite his foul potty mouth, you know, the radio and him spitting the dummy. Yeah, I'm really hoping he pulls one out of the hat this weekend and really performs really well. Well, I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. No, Mal, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of it is going to depend on how he performs. Yeah, and I think it's really interesting that you make the Tsunoda point, because a lot of people have suspected it's the reason why he's still in the Red Bull camp, as in, you know, Visa Cash App Hobby or whatever that bloody team's called. He's there because of Honda. Because Honda is still really, you know, the power behind. And there's a massive rumour that he might, if not next year, the year after, go to Aston Martin, who've got the Honda engine.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be interesting. I think, probably with but what's going to happen with Lance? Is he going to stay with the team?
Yeah, well, I don't dislike Lance Stroll. I think, okay, to drive one of those cars, you've got to be amazing. He's got it on pole. He's got podiums. Yeah, but, and here's the but, I think if I was the head of Aston Martin, I don't think you could justify having him in the team where there's so many better drivers around. That's the thing. I think, you know, he's a nice guy when he's not pushing his trainer around the guitar. But yeah, I don't. But let's be fair. If it wasn't for his dad, he wouldn't be in Formula. He wouldn't be where he is. I think that's a fact.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I see that a lot, sort of growing up and doing go-karting myself, and fathers support the sons, and right up as adulthood that I've found, that most of the drivers become professional drivers. you know, and it's all being sort of supported by the father. Look at Lewis Hamilton and his father. The man has a poor job to pay for his son's, you know,
Yeah, I
go
mean,
karting experience.
well, yeah, that's the thing about
Unbelievable.
Hamilton. Yeah, grew up in Stevenage, which is not exactly the most, money place in the UK. His dad had more than took more than one job. Yeah, you're right, to help pay for it, and they kind of started from nowhere and did it on talent alone. And this is what annoys me about pay drivers with rich parents and stuff. I mean, maybe it's wrong that annoys me. But put it this way, it's not like you and I could go up, for example, to a Premiership football team in New Zealand or the UK, like Man United, and go, here's £10 million, can I play? They'll tell you to F off. They'll tell you to go away. But you can do that in Formula One, which I think, yes, you've got to have some talent, but you can jump the queue in Formula One quite substantially just because of the money you've got. And I think as the top echelon of the sport, that is really, really bad. And as you said, it goes all the way down to go-karting, and there isn't. Yes, football's a lot cheaper, but there isn't this. I don't think there's this really obvious path to a little kid who's 10, 11, having massive talent, and then going up. There's not a simple path going up to Formula One. It's almost like you have to have the money, and there's no support there. And I think you're right. So then I wonder, is there then the next Lewis Hamilton, Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, hiding in New Zealand somewhere simply because his parents do not have enough money? Yeah.
I feel well, we haven't had a Kiwi driver in Formula One in a while, actually, and it was great to see Liam really stepping up. But just out of interest, Ollie Berman's driving the Ferrari was absolutely fantastic. I think he surprised everyone.
He did, didn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, you're right. He did. I think all things could. Yes, I mean, people have gone, oh, he's got the second best car. But I think, bear in mind, he had one practice session going into one of the more difficult races at the weekend, Saudi Arabia. If you make a mistake, you're out. I mean, that's it. And I think you're right. I think, given the pressure, he did really well. He had one session, then straight into qualifying, and then straight into the race. He didn't put a foot wrong. It would have been so easy, as you saw with Lance Stroll, to clip a curb and lose a front wing, do something a bit silly, and that proves that the young drivers out there can do it. And F1's been criticised a lot for having like too many old people still. But then again, I guess when you're as good as Alonso and Hamilton, you could, I guess, make an argument for it. But yeah, but yeah. Well, yeah. Then this is the thing, because let's be fair, and this shouldn't happen. But had it not been for Daniel Ricciardo injuring his wrist, you and I wouldn't be talking about Liam Lawson in Formula One, despite how much talent this guy obviously has, because that was the only way he had a chance to show it. And once he showed that he could do it, now he's a big thing. But that would not have happened without Daniel Ricciardo. And I think, in a way, that's really, really sad.
That was really such a bad bit of luck, really. Yeah. And I definitely feel for Ricardo. I mean, I've broken my car, but it's well, these guys are fitter as my wrist took 2 years to sort of get better. But keep racing,
No, but you said you did go-kart. You said you've done a bit of go-karting.
Yeah, back in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s.
Oh,
With my dad, that was good experience. But if you really wanted to be competitive, you really had to chase all the main events, sort of, and it's not only money for the go-karts, and equipment, etc. It's accommodation and travelling and all the other expenses. I had fun. I was racing with the likes of Craig Beard and Kane Scott.
wow.
Craig Beard, he raced, I think, Porsches, 3 or something. First one, did really well.
Oh.
And it was just really good experience. And that's where I sort of developed my love for Formula One.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I mean, yes. Because at the moment, everyone, in terms of Formula One, at the moment, everyone's saying it's a bit boring with Max dominating. Obviously, we had Carlos Sainz. and the audience, some of the audience figures have like kind of gone down. And I just hope this season that Max has a bit more. I don't mind him winning all the races, but what I want is a fight. I want a fight at the top. Like, if he wins the races because he's had to pass people or build under pressure, then at that point I think I'm happy. You know what I mean? But he's not.
Funny you say that, because I've been thinking that shit. I'd really like to see Max in the field and battling it out, because we haven't seen that, because it's just been so
No.
superior to everyone else at the moment, and
Yeah,
I wonder
right.
if he.
I know. I think we're all really spoiled with that 2021 season against Lewis Hamilton, because since then, even when Max has started back in the field, it's kind of like he's a Ferrari, like racing mini metros and minis. Like, he just goes through them like a knife through butter, and then he gets into the lead. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, seeing him racing close wheel stuff, because we haven't seen Max do that, and I think that makes, when you look at a dominant championship, you can either look at it and think that's amazing, what an amazing team, but I think most people remember the really close championships. I know the way 2021 ended was bad, but up until that, we're all, it was an amazing year. The Prost and Senna battles, the Schumacher Hill battles. Everyone remembers those championships and those races, those close races that people won, rather than these absolute, albeit statistically amazing, runs. I mean, who's really gonna get out the races for the 2023 season and get excited about it? Probably not many people, are they? Yeah.
I'm hoping Max just sort of goes away, and we'll just have to see Clement and the rest of the field,
Yeah, you're right. I think without Max, I think if you took away Max Verstappen from last year's championship, it would have been really exciting. I think there would have been 3 or 4 people up to try and win that. I mean, that would have been amazing. So, so when do you think we'll get a race in New Zealand? Do you? I mean, you've got a couple of tracks that potentially could have an F1 track, have an F1 race. No,
I don't think we have the logistics or the support, really, or the fan base to really support an F1 race here. I mean, but Melbourne is only a hop, skip, and a jump over
True.
the ditch.
True.
I was fortunate enough back in the 90s to go to Adelaide Grand Prix, when Senna and Frost were, in the Marlboro McLaren, and oh my God, those machines sound absolutely fantastic, and the McLarens were the best sounding machines there,
Oh,
amazing.
What year was that? Do you know? Do you remember?
90.
19.
Too long.
No, that's fine. 99. Oh, that's, yeah. I mean, I'd have loved to see it. I think Adelaide was such an awesome track, and it's a shame I know they use it for supercars now and stuff still, but it's a shame that F1's not there. I like Albert Park as well. Yeah, I never had the luxury to go there in the 90s. I think my first was Silverstone 2000. But yeah, equally with the V10s or the cars, they sounded so much better than they do now. I mean, my last F1 race I watched was 2021 Silverstone, and they sound okay, but they're not impressive. Like the V12s, the V10s, the V8s, the Streamers. I mean, that was amazing. I remember when you probably did as well. When the race started, they're all together and they all come round for that first time. The ground almost vibrates as they're coming round. It's just so cool. Yeah, but they don't really do that with the current generation of cars, I guess.
Yeah, it was definitely ear splitting when you're at the track back in those days.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age now.
No, you're right. Back in those, yeah, it was ear split because, I mean, you could make an argument if you sat too close. It was almost like standing next to a speaker at a massive concert because your ears were ringing for the rest of the evening. So, okay, before we go, then, who do you think? Give me the podium. What's your podium? What do you reckon?
I'm going to go. Well, I don't even know what the weather's doing. Give me
well, the weather at the moment. I tell you what. I'm just gonna. I'll Google it. I'll Google it. Weather. Let's see. Let me see what the weather is doing. Weather. Suzuka. I think it's meant to be dry. It's meant to be. I say it's meant to be dry. there was like a 34% chance of rain, but I don't think it's going to come anymore now. We've got evening. Today's not too bad. Next 48 hours. No, there does not look like it's going to rain at all. No, I mean there's like a 9-10% chance. Sunday is currently a 6% chance of rain on Sunday. It's 22 degrees, which means it's going to be the hottest. It is. It will be. So the teams won't have been used to that. It's not going to be hot, but in Japan at the moment, it's been really, really cool. And one of the reasons Ferrari is struggling, they said, because they expected it to be cooler and it's now hotter. But Ferrari is saying their race runs could be better. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, we've got obviously Verstappen, Perez. No, that's practice 3. We've got qualifying. My apologies. We've got Verstappen, Perez, Norris, Sainz, Alonso, Piastri, Hamilton, Leclerc, Russell, Tsunoda in the top 10. So the weather shouldn't do anything. It should be dry for the whole race. But then Suzuka is near the sea.
And Max and Leclerc coming to loggerheads and taking each other out. And Sergio getting the win because of somebody else's misfortune.
Yeah. No, I mean, literally, I was saying in my qualifying review that Sergio Perez, within a tenth of Max Verstappen, in terms of taking each other out, I think Sergio Perez needs to absolutely hoon it into that first corner and try his best to pass Max and put Max under pressure. Because I don't think Sergio Perez will be at Red Bull next year. I think he almost needs to drive cleverly. Don't hit anyone, but I think he needs to drive for Sergio Perez. But we'll see.
Yeah, he had a bit of bad luck recently. He's another driver that I've sort of, got a soft spot for as well, And I suppose if it's dry, well, Max is sort of, the unstoppable god. I call him.
He is at the moment.
It'd be up here. It'd be nice to see Norris on the podium again.
Yeah, okay. So you're thinking Max wins it. Who do you think is going to be second? Perez, Norris, or do you reckon one of the Ferraris could get it? Alonso's in 5th as well, but that Aston Martin's not been that great in the races.
I put money on Sainz.
Really? He's 4th. So Sainz 2nd. So you're saying Verstappen 1st, Carlos Sainz, who's in the form of his life, let's be fair, currently 2nd. So who are you going for 3rd?
Norris.
Oh, yeah. That's not impossible. Okay, so Perez. Okay. I mean, I initially went at the beginning of the weekend, Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc. I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, I'm going to, just for the sake of being different, I'm going to say Perez will get his first win. Only because I'm just bored of Verstappen. But I think, to be fair, Mal, I think you're right. I think it'll be Perez, Verstappen, Norris. I don't think that I'd get really good odds on that. To be fair, though, if I was a betting man, I would, like you, I wouldn't bet against Verstappen. I think wouldn't it be one for the books if Carlos Sainz again beats Leclerc and again gets on that podium? I mean, at some point Ferrari are going to be like, did we get rid of the wrong guy? We'll see.
Yeah, well, that's another topic for conversation later.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, yeah. If you're happy to come back when we talk about Japan, the race review, I definitely think that's going to be something we could be talking about. Definitely. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. There we go. I'll leave us to it, and see you guys soon.
Thanks, man.
Okay,